good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be watching or listening to me from. My name is Ayoti, and this is the Naija FC podcast. Today, it is just me. Unfortunately, my co host is not available, and that's okay. Every once in a while, it's good to spend some time with the family, it's good to take time away from work, and this time is the time that he has to be away. So, I'm going to be primarily bringing you guys the gist today. As always, we'll talk about a host of topics and we'll give people a chance to call in. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, please let me know where you are watching from so that I can just acknowledge you very, very quickly. And if you are watching on any other social media platform, please switch over to YouTube. If you are on Instagram and you want to watch the show, go to our profile, click on subscribe to our page on Instagram, and you would be able to watch the show. But if you are not subscribed, the stream will end on Instagram for you. So please, if you are on Instagram and you don't want to switch to YouTube, you have to subscribe to our page. It costs a little fee, less than a cup of coffee thereabouts, and it helps to continue to support the content. A lot of people have been saying, "How can I support? I don't want to have to go to YouTube." Now you can go on our page on Instagram, click on subscribe and become a paid subscriber of the page, and you'll be able to enjoy the Niger FC podcast live in its entirety every week. But yes, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. As always, I'll start by doing a rundown of the past week of action, and then we'll get into the main topics and main happenings from this week. Let me just see. Thank you, Olumide from Houston. Nice to see you again. Thank you, Pai Moyo. Thank you very much. Appreciate you tuning in. Um, I see Monaco Matt on Instagram. Please switch over to YouTube or join us as a subscriber. Sule Rafiat, greetings IoT. I see you. Thank you for joining. Please switch over to YouTube or join our page as a subscriber so that you can continue to enjoy the show. Same goes for you, Kelly White. Thank you very, very much. Okay, okay. Let me get into the rundown, the review of this past week. If you're on Twitter as well or X, please switch over to YouTube because the stream is going to be ending there. It's only going to be streaming on YouTube and for paid subscribers on Instagram. I hope you guys can understand why. But yes, thank you very much. Okay, rundown of the weekend's action very, very quickly. Goalkeepers Chamakana Dozier had a good game, keeping a clean sheet for Paris FC Feminine in France. Francis Zoho was back in goal for Omonia. In defense, we have Rofia Timura keeping a clean sheet for London City Lionesses. Calvin Bassey, of course, scored a goal for Fulham, the winning goal in their fantastic game against Nottingham Forest. He also had three clearances and three goals won in that game. Onyechi Zog with 11 clearances for Perth Glory, good game for her. William Trustekong with three clearances and four goals won for Al Khulud in Saudi. Junior Pius kept a clean sheet for GD Chavez in Portugal. Shemilogo Ajayi back in the squad, good game for him, five clearances and five goals won for West Brom in the EFL Championship. Chibuike Unwaiwu, three tackles, 10 goals won and 10 clearances for Wolfsberger AC in the Austrian Bundesliga. Igor Obu kept a clean sheet while making three tackles and three clearances rather, and six interceptions for Slavia Prague in the Czech Republic. Ola Aino, three blocks, three clearances, and seven goals won in Nottingham Forest's defeat against Fulham. Hamdi Akudrobi scored a goal while winning six goals and making eight clearances for Almer City. They drew that game 2-2 against NEC Nimesgen. Kingsley Ehizbue kept a clean sheet while creating one goal scoring chance, making two blocks, making six clearances, and winning nine goals for Udinese. They defeated Empoli 3-0 in the Italian Serie A. In midfield, we had Frank Onyeka with a good game, two chances created and five interceptions for FC Augsburg in Germany. They played a goalless draw against RB Leipzig. We had Stephen Chimezie with a goal for Mostar over there in Malta. But Dele Ola Israel scored a goal for Sigma Olomouc in the Czech Republic. Joe Aribo had a good game with six tackles and 12 goals on for Southampton. Jennifer Oninye Echegini continues to impress, a goal and an assist for her in PSG's victory 3-1 over Montpellier, former Onumonus Montpellier. Nelson Okeke scored a goal, made three interceptions, and won four goals for Bohemians 1905 in the Czech Republic. Going over to the forwards, Vivian Ikechukwu scored a goal for Santos Laguna in Mexico. Moses Emmanuel got an assist for Sigma Olomouc in the Czech Republic. Alex Iwobi created two chances for Fulham in England against Forest. Moses Simon, one assist, four dribbles, four chances created, six goals won for FC Nantes in France. Unfortunately, they lost that game heavily against AS Monaco. Paul Mukaru also continued his good form despite being on the losing side with two chances created and 8 goals won for Bolispor. Philippe Otele also had a good game, creating 2 goal scoring chances for FC Basel in Switzerland. Collins Atule with a goal for FK Mladost. Abubakar Gali, one chance created and 8 goals won for Slovan Liberec in the Czech Republic. And then over in the strikers, Chrysanthos Uche scored a goal for Getafe. Wasn't a fantastic goal, but goal nevertheless. It was season opportunity, good instinct, scored a goal. We'll talk about him a bit more later in the show. Tula Rukodare also back on his score sheet, 1 goal and 9 goals for KRC Genk. It was a good header. Again, if you want to see all these goals, all you have to do is subscribe on our Instagram and you can watch these goals on our stories. We post them almost as soon as they come in. So again, another incentive for you to subscribe to our Instagram. Not only can you watch a Naija FC podcast, but you can also watch all the goals of the Nigerian players. David Okereke with one chance for Gaziantep in Turkey. Charles Ashimene scored a goal for Quang Nam in Vietnam. Chisom Egbuchulam got another goal for Anjao Dao in Saudi. Paulo Wachu got an assist for Southampton in English Premier League. Chukwubuike Mikwe Messi with two chances created and 10 goals won for OH Leuven in Belgium. Sadiq Umar scored his first La Liga goal of the season for Valencia. That was a good game for him and for them as well. Edna Imade was also back on the score sheet, scoring a goal for Granada in the Spanish Liga F. Tony Payne got an assist for Everton. Unfortunately, they fell to a defeat 2-1 against Chelsea. Late defeat, sad one for them. Gift Orban continued his good form for Hoffenheim, scoring a goal, a nice header in their German Bundesliga victory. Solomon John got an assist for Mlada Boleslav in Czech Republic. Chuba Akpom scored a goal after missing a penalty, scored a goal for LOSC Lille in their French League One game. Bamidele Yusuf scored 1 goal and created one chance for FK Vojvodina. I believe that Vojvodina is where Serbia, I think. Um, Forgive me, I don't have the names of the countries of the teams written down, so I'm remembering them as they go. And then Rafi Udrosimi scored 2 goals and created two chances for Victoria Pilsen in the Czech Republic. And then, of course, our star of the week for this past week, we had Victor Osimhen with 2 goals and one chance created for Galatasaray in their 1-2 Turkish Super League victory over Kayseri Rizespor. Of course, in that game, Babajide also had an assist for Kayseri Rizespor's goal. Okay, there you have it, guys. That's how the Nigerian players performed over the past weekend. And of course, if you were following the UEFA Champions League just today, Samuel Chukwueze's AC Milan, unfortunately, have been knocked out of the competition by Feyenoord after playing a 1-1 draw today. And of course, if you've been following, you would also know that Ademola Lookman came off the bench to score a goal, but it was too little, too late for Atalanta as they fell to a defeat against Onyedika's Club Brugge. In that game, Ademola Lookman had a chance to make it a bit closer from the penalty spot, but he saw his penalty saved very well by Simon Mignolet. Tried to play it fairly down the middle, just a little bit to the side, and Mignolet saved it very well. One thing with I was literally on a call with a footballer we're watching that game together and we're on the call. And I was like, it's funny how in football, if you play the ball down the middle and it goes in, confident penalty, fantastic penalty. If you play the ball down the middle and the goalkeeper saves it, you just look very silly. It's like, what are you doing? But we also know that more often than not, goalkeepers will dive and they will not get to it. It wasn't the best penalty in the world, but of course, it also wasn't bad. Like if the goalkeeper, I don't know. But yeah, Lookman scored 1 goal. He missed one penalty. Atalanta are out of the tournament. I'm happy for Onyedika. I'm happy for Club Brugge. I think last week when we were on the show, there was somebody, or maybe in our comments, I can't remember exactly. Somebody was arguing with me about Onyedika's performances in Club Brugge. Oh, he's not doing well. He's blah blah blah. You know, saying that Club Brugge cannot beat any top team. That is only because he's playing in Belgium. Well, they just beat the top team. They just beat the top team. Club Brugge are really punching above their weight, and hopefully they can keep doing well in this competition. I love seeing Nigerian players at the high. I know that the more glamorous thing would have been for Lukman to get through because Lukman is the one that scores the goals and everything. But at the end of the day, it's a Nigerian player. A win is a win is a win. Any Nigerian player that gets through, I'm happy to see them get through. So I'm excited for Rafael Onyedika. Let's see how far Club Brugge can go. I don't expect them to win the Champions League, but hey, stranger things have happened in the world. Who knows what can happen? Shout out to Onyedika. Shout out to Club Brugge. Congratulations on the victory today, and commiserations to Lukman and Atalanta. Okay, Very quickly in the comments, guys, let me know who impressed you the most this past weekend. Let me know who impressed you the most this past weekend. Um, and then we'll move on very quickly. I can see shout out to Gun Football saying Orban, my man. I know that you're always happy when Orban does well. Some of your guys, Orban scored, Crisanto Uche scored. So happy weekend for Gun Football over there. Um, I think for me, Osimhen was the person that we gave the star of the week at Eagles Tracker. Osimhen had a fine game. Two headers, two goals from open play, very important to note, and helped this team in a tough game, helped this team get the win. So fantastic, fantastic one. I'm happy for Victor Osimhen. We'll talk about Osimhen a little bit as the show goes on. Okay, this is my final call. If you are watching on other social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, X, the stream is going to end for you now. So please switch over to YouTube. If you're on other social media platforms, Facebook, X, Instagram, please switch over to YouTube. If you are on Instagram and you want to continue to watch the show, then you would need to join our page as a subscriber. All you have to do is go to our profile, click. If you don't see a subscribe button, click on the arrow. You will see subscribe. Click on subscribe. You will need to pay a fee, a small monthly fee, less than a cup of coffee. And then once you pay that fee, you have access to exclusive content that we've already been posting, as well as all exclusive content that is going to come in the future, including exclusive access to all the Naija FC podcasts and other live streams that we do right there on Instagram. We already have a handful of people that have subscribed on Instagram, and I want to say a special thank you to those people. Coach Obi is one of our biggest supporters. Coach Obi is also subscribed on Instagram. We have Rotimi as well, and a few other people. Thank you to everyone that has subscribed on Instagram. The token fee that you pay goes a long way towards us being able to pay our staff, being able to cover games in person, being able to cover travel costs, being able to do so much more and keep on creating this content. It is not easy to run a business like this. It is not easy to create content. It is not easy to pay people to do work. So please, if you are able, subscribe on Instagram. It costs a fee. It is not free, but it goes a long way and it's a way that you can support us. And if you are not willing to pay that fee, if you do not want to be a paid subscriber, then please just switch over to YouTube, like the video, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and that is another great way that you can show us your support and help us continue to grow and even make more money to do the things that we want to do. That's the final call. The stream is now going to be ending on all other social media platforms. So please switch over to YouTube or subscribe on Instagram. Thank you very much. I feel like I've said it enough times, so nobody should be surprised when the stream goes off. but but thank you very much, guys. I really do appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. Okay. Okay. Pi Moyo says Uche impressed him the most. That's a very interesting choice. That's a very interesting choice, considering that I mean, let me not talk too much. But I don't know if you watch the game, but let me not say anything. I'll talk about Uche a bit more down the line. But that's an interesting choice of all the different players that performed well. Maybe you just like him and you're happy that he scored a goal. But that's an interesting choice. Ayuba says Jennifer has been delivering her polling unit. Yes, Jennifer Chegini has been in very good form, and she's somebody that I also am going to talk about as we continue the program in just a bit. She's been doing very very well, and I'm happy. I'm happy for her. I'm happy for her. She's one of the brightest talents that we have in the Super Falcons, and I'm happy to see her doing well. Things did not start off great for her at PSG, not like the way she was doing when she was in Juventus. But now that she's getting into her stride, it's something that is really exciting to see. It's really exciting to see. Somebody was asking where Smith Lai is. Smith Lai is going to be joining us let me not say shortly, but as we continue to go along, Smithla is going to be joining us. He just has to attend to some other pressing issues, and of course, it's perfectly understandable. Life, other things happen in life that you need to attend to. So, and again, I will just say this, guys. Please bear with me. Today's show is not going to be too long. We're not going to run too long because there's also life stuff that I need to attend to. So I'm going to try to run it as quickly as possible. I'm going to try to run it as quickly as possible. So let me not waste too much time. I want to start by highlighting Jennifer Echegini. I think she had a fantastic performance for PSG this past weekend. 1 goal and 1 assist. And the goal that she scored was, I won't say carbon copy, but it reminded me of the goal that she scored in the Olympics, Nigeria's only goal at the Olympics. Under her left foot, she can strike a ball. She can strike a ball. So fantastic one for her. And then her assist was also good. She's been in good form for PSG, scoring goals, providing assists week after week, game after game. And I really like the form that she's getting into. This is the time where I would have been saying I'm excited to see what she does for Nigeria during this international break. But unfortunately for us, our NFF said, hey, no goals, no games for you during this international break. So there's nothing that we can do. While her teammates are going to be going out playing for their countries, she's going to be chilling at home, relaxing, enjoying her holiday. It's sad to see, but I'm happy the way she's performing, and I really do hope that long may it continue. Again, people, I don't know, people like you just threw me off, but I'm going to talk about him. I am a big fan of Uche. I'm a big fan of Uche. We'll talk about him. Relax, guys. Because I said, like, I watched the game. I don't overhype things. I don't undersell things. I say it how I see it because I am not too excited. And you just said a very silly thing, not as flash as educate. I don't know how people like Nigerians like to jump to some very, very annoying conclusions sometimes. But let me continue. Tudaro Kudari was also back on the score sheet for KRC Genk. Aro Kudari was flying high as the season started, was doing exceptionally well. Things kind of slowed down a little bit for him, but I was happy to see him score again this past weekend. He has now 3 goals and 1 assist in his last 9 matches. Obviously, not at the same rate as when the season started, and he was banging in goal after goal after goal. But overall, he's still having a fine tally this season. I still think that he's deserving of a call up in March again, especially because other players have not been performing like the way he has been performing, and he has been consistent for most of the season. It's normal for a player to have certain dry spells. It's normal for a player to have certain times that things are just not flowing as easily as they were flowing before. But I was very happy to see him back on the score sheet. It was a well taken header. It was something that he worked hard for. Initially, it looked as if the goal might be disallowed, but it was eventually given to him. And yeah, congratulations to Larry Kodare. He has gradually kept on winning me over. And I'm happy to see him continue to perform well. And hopefully he can continue to perform well like that for the rest of the season. And if and when he does get a Super Eagles call up, hopefully he can have another good showing, and impress the Nigerian fans as well. Okay, I said I'll get to him. It's time for me to talk about Chrisantos Uche. Chrisantos Uche was on target for Getafe in their 2-1 victory over Girona. Now, before people start leaving comments like, oh, you're not a fan of him because he's not as flashy as Ejuke or Lukman, I don't know where that came from. Nobody said anything about flashiness. Nobody said anything about style of play. I'm just talking about the performance from this past weekend. It was a good game, but I didn't think it was a fantastic game for me to name him as the best player for the weekend. That's the reason why I reacted to that person's comments initially. The goal that he scored, a lot of people look at statistics. The goal that he scored was not like it was an opportunity that he snatched on and he scored. And I cannot take it away from him. He did score the goal. He did put in a good shift. I just did not think that he was somebody to be considered as one of the best players for this past weekend. Again, I like Uchi as a guy. I like him as a football player. I chat with him every now and then. He's a nice, very good human being. But again, it has nothing to do with flashiness. It's just this past weekend, I did not think that he was one of the best. So please ask questions before you jump to conclusions. Sometimes I love you guys so much that watch the show. I love you guys that engage with us. But sometimes when people just say some things that I'm like, bruh, where did you hear that? Where did you get that from? Like, if you don't know, just ask. You know, like, and the thing just threw me off while I was talking, and I'm like, from where is this coming from? People just jump to conclusions. Not everybody's going to be as excited as certain players as you are. Not everybody's going to be as down on certain players as you are. When I talk about and I defend certain players, nobody says, "Oh, I say I'm such a big fan because of this." But if I say, "Oh, I don't think this was one of them," people start to draw sort of crazy conclusions. I thought it was a good performance. I didn't think it was exceptional. I think it was extraordinary. Simple as that. We'll still talk about Uche a little bit more as we go on. Shemi Ajayi back in action. Good performance for Shemi Ajayi after returning from an injury. Last week he was on the bench, he didn't feature. This week he played the full 90 minutes for West Brom. Good performance from him. Ajayi is somebody that, of course, has been a key part of the Super Eagles defense in recent weeks. So I'm happy to see him back in the West Brom side. Good time for him to come into the side, getting ready for the national team engagement next month. I believe that he's somebody that should and would definitely be called up. And I'm just happy to see him back because I think he's a player that we need. Of course, we know that the defensive position in the Super Eagles is not our strongest position. We don't have too many high quality options. So we always need those players that we know that we can rely on. We always need those players that we know that have served us and have done well in the past. And it was something that was exciting to see. And hopefully he can stay fit now. Hopefully he can continue doing well. And yeah, wishing him all the best. I think that Shema Jai is somebody that is fairly underrated by Nigerian fans. Sometimes when people talk about him, they make him sound like he's some bad player, but it's composed, he's good in the air, he does his job, nothing flashy, nothing crazy, just does his job well. And I like him as a football player. And I think that he's somebody that we need. It's going to be interesting to see how Eric Shell sets up. I'm not expecting three at the back, so I don't necessarily know if Ajayi is going to start, but I mean, it's still somebody that you need in the team. I'm a strong believer of your team is only as strong as the weakest link. So you want the strongest players possible. You want the best options possible. And I think Shemi Ajayi still remains one of our best options when it comes to centre back for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. So I'm happy to see him back. And I'm happy that he didn't just come back. He had a good game. Paul Onuachu also continues to impress. Another assist for Southampton this past weekend. Onuachu, of course, is somebody that a lot of Nigerian players have given a lot of criticism. People have given him stick for his performances, both for club and country. Even though we know that Southampton are crap, people still talk as if, despite the fact that the whole team is playing rubbish, he's supposed to just have been banging in a million goals. And again, style of play, all those different things affect him. It took him some time to get into the side. It then took him from side some time after getting into the side to really get into the flow of things and get into his rhythm. But now Onuachu is one of Southampton's more impressive players. He's one of those players that is performing week after week, contributing goals, contributing assists, even when he doesn't get either of, he's still having good performances, and I'm happy to see him back. We'll talk about Onuachu later in the show as well. But I was happy with the performance this past weekend, and long may it continue. I'll also talk about Sadiq Umar. Sadiq Umar scored a nice header. I don't know if you guys watched that game I did. Sadiq Umar scored a nice header for Valencia in their 1-1 draw against Villarreal. Off the rebound, nice controlled header. His first goal in La Liga this season. Of course, you would know that Real Sociedad he wasn't really getting any opportunities. Of course, after that long injury that he had coming back, it was hard for him to come back into the side. He went on loan to Valencia, and I'm happy that he was able to score his first goal. Every striker needs that confidence. Every striker needs those run of goals. Every striker, needs that trust, that support for him to continue to do well. Confidence is such a big deal for strikers. Seeing the ball hit the back of net is such a big deal for them. And I was happy for Sadiq Umar. I remember I cannot forget that his 2021-2022 season for UD Almeria, the season that got him his move to the La Liga proper. Fantastic player. I know that Sadiq Umar can be clumsy on the ball. I know that he can be very awkward to watch. I know that sometimes you might look at him and say, what is this guy doing? But he's a quality player. Somebody in our comments on Instagram was saying, oh, he's just an O2. And I'm like, you don't get to the La Liga by being an O2. Let's be realistic. Even if you want to say somebody became a professional by chance, oh, opportunity, whatever the case may be, you don't then work your way up and start playing the Spanish La Liga by being an O2. You might not like him, you might not like his style of play, you might think that he's underperforming. But when people just say things like, oh, he's an O2, he's a terrible player, this one, that one, I'm just like, ah. And a lot of the time, people that make those kind of comments don't even watch the matches. Maybe they watched one game, they were not happy. Now, anything that the player does cannot make them happy. But I am particularly happy for Sadiq Umar. I know that he gets a lot of stake, and just seeing a player overcome, join a new club, and then start to score a goal and hit the ground running, it is a nice thing to see. Now, speaking of players that joined a new club, unfortunately, as there's always positives, there's also always negatives. I spoke about somebody that is now hitting the ground running at his new club. One of our other players has not been able to hit the ground running, and this is one that I wish Smidlai was here for this, because Smidlai would be able to make some very funny comments and talk to me about this. But I don't know, man. What is the issue with Kelechi Iheanacho? What is the issue with Kelechi Iheanacho? I didn't watch his Middlesbrough debut, but this past week, I told myself, you know what? Let me watch Middlesbrough. Let me watch Kelechi play. Let me see what Kelechi is doing. They played against Tom Dele Bashiru's Watford. So I was like, okay, at least I get to watch two Nigerian players in one game. Boy, it was even worse than his debut. Senior man Kells, man, he's not fit. He's not at the right, he's not in the right shape. He doesn't seem to want to be running all the time. He doesn't seem to be giving everything. I say doesn't seem because, again, I don't want to say what I'm not certain of, but I'm just talking about perspective, how he looks watching it on TV. Kelechi, man, I don't like to write anybody off. I really do not. I don't like to write anybody off. I don't like to say anybody is finished. I don't like to say anybody is done. I don't like to say anybody cannot play again. I don't like to make comments like that. But Kelechi is not giving us much to work with. It's not giving us much to work with, man. His performance this past weekend, I was watching the game. I had to stop because I was tired of just seeing him not do anything. The few times he gets the ball, touches are not crisp again. I've said it many times that Kelechi is one of the most technical players that we've had on the Super Eagles. But all these things don't seem to be showing anymore. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I really don't know what it is. But something needs to change with Kelechi Iheanacho. I saw Borough fans on social media. They're already like tired. They've, 2 games into somebody's loan spell, they've given up. And he's by far the highest paid player in Middlesbrough because he joined from Sevilla, where he was their highest paid. So imagine being the highest paid player in the La Liga club and then joining the championship club. Now, the next person that is earning as close to you is maybe earning 1 million less than you. And they are looking at you and they're just like, what is going on? Senior man, I know you might not like to hear this. I don't like to make comments like this. It might be time to go and make that oil money, man. It might be time to just go to Saudi and get a bag. Score 10, 15 goals in Saudi each season. Play against Cristiano Ronaldo, play against Kante, play against Benzema, and just relax, man, and chill. And don't allow people like me to come and be talking negative about you. Don't allow fans to be insulting you on social media. In the words of Jamie Carragher, you need to leave the football before the football leaves you. I'm not saying it has left him, but man, something needs to change. Something needs to change. Something needs to change. You cannot constantly be out of shape. You cannot constantly not look like you're trying hard. You know, I mean, I'm happy that he was still able to convince, I don't know who his agents are, but they were able to convince Sevilla to still pay him a big bag. But if you struggle at Sevilla so badly like he did, and then struggle at Middlesbrough, I don't know if anybody wants to pay you that kind of bag again next time, unless you are going to Saudi. Somebody said, "Who told you Saudi wants him?" Ah, no, there's no way now. There's no way. It's not that bad. Saudi, I don't want to name names, but there's some players that we can look at in Saudi that are also not doing anything. Uh, and if at all, you can follow the Neymar playbook. Just go to Saudi, injure, collect your money every week. And then when you're tired, go back and play for Heartland. Really. But something absolutely needs to change. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's just a lack of motivation anymore. You've done well already. You've played in the Premier League. You've won trophies. You've had a fine career. Maybe you're just no longer I don't know what it is. But something needs to change. Something needs to change. I like Kelechi Iheanacho as a human being. I like Kelechi Iheanacho as a football player, but I cannot defend what I'm seeing. I cannot defend what I'm seeing. He has dropped so much from the standards that are expected of somebody like him. He has dropped so much from the standards of somebody that used to be the lead striker for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I wish him all the best, man. I wish him all the best. Let us move on. Moses Simon, an assist for FC Nantes. Boy, oh boy. I know that I'm only at your T. I'm only on Eagles Tracker, But if anybody that's watching this has contact with the administrators of FC Nantes, maybe the club director, the chairman, the presidents, the owner, please send him this message. Get Moses Simon some help, bro. Get Moses Simon some freaking help. My God, this guy is working alone. Every game that I watch of FC Nantes, every game that I watch, Simon is working his butt off. He is working his tail off for nothing, for absolutely nothing. Nantes stink. They're such a bad team, creating multiple chances every game. Dribbling, putting the ball in for striker to just miss. You people, if you are here, maybe you've been insulting Nicholas Jackson. Just thank God you are not a Nance fan. Just thank God you are not a Nance fan. Certain strikers that we insult playing for top teams. Ah, because you people don't watch you people only watch big teams and I don't watch some leagues. If you watch some other clubs, you'll be praising the striker your club has, even though he's missing a few chances and he's still managing to get how many goals in a season. Get Moses Simon some help. I don't know, by now, I don't know what the immigration rules are like in France, but by now, he should be a French citizen now, or at least have permanent residency. He has been there for a long time. The guy either needs to leave or I don't know. Like, they just need to get him some help. He is working too hard for nothing. For nothing. Creating multiple chances, getting goals every now and then, getting assists to just be losing. If God help them, they draw match. I don't even know him personally, and I feel so bad for him because nobody deserves to be working so hard for very little return. Man, please, Nantes, get this man some help. God damn it. Get this man some help. Nantes are currently 15th, only 3 points above the relegation zone. Moses Simon doesn't deserve to be getting relegated. He doesn't. He doesn't deserve to be getting relegated. He's such a good player. If he's playing in League Two now, will we still say they should call him up to Super Eagles? If he's playing in League Two, we say they should call him up to Super Eagles. I mean, even if they go down, I want to believe that he won't go down with them. He'll move. But damn, get this man some help. Please, if you know anybody in the Nantes organization, or you know that a way that this message can reach them, please, I beg you, send it to them. I feel so bad for him, man. I actually took my time to watch this game because they were playing against AS Monaco. Shout out to George Linekener. Came off the bench and scored 2 goals. I didn't talk too much about him, but he had a good game after coming off the bench. But man, Moses Simon needs some help. Moses Simon needs some help. Like, I know that if they go down, he'll probably not stay. But why do you need to have that relegation on your CV first before you now finally move? We've heard so many different rumors about him in the past, about teams wanting him, but nothing ever came to fruition. Oh man. I mean, God knows best. He knows best. His agent knows best. There are probably some things that I'm not privy to, but just from an outsider's point of view, from a football fan's point of view, man, I hate to see my guy struggle like that. Honestly, I really do. I hate to see him struggle like that. Okay, let me move on. for the sake of time. Um, Gift Orban, Gift Orban, another good header from him, another goal. This one was in a win, so a more relevant goal. I'm happy for him. I really am. He has now scored 3 goals in what 7 games for Hoffenheim. Oh no, 6 games for Hoffenheim. He has scored 3 goals. Good return. 3 in his last 4 games. Good form. Hopefully, he can continue like this. I said it on the podcast when he was about to move to Hoffenheim that I believed that this move could be a make or break move. Excuse me. This move could be a make or break move for him. After not doing so well in France, I really needed him to impress. But yeah, I'm happy for Gift Urban. I hope that he can continue like this. Before the season ends, if he can bag 10 goals, it's going to be a good return in half a season. And it's going to set him up and it's going to at least let the club believe that they have someone that can do a job for them next season. Hoffenheim have had a topsy-turvy season. They are also only 5 points above the relegation zone. Hopefully, their form doesn't dip. These wins are very important for them because it's keeping them afloat. I don't want him to go down because if they get relegated, what happens to Orban? Is he going to now be playing in the Bundesliga too? Is he going to now all of a sudden after half a season start looking for a move? So yeah, I just don't think I want them to go down. I really really do hope that things go well for him. I really do hope that things go well for him. Let me see. I also want to just highlight that an amazing game that we watched. Fulham versus Nottingham Forest. I love watching games like that. What do you mean I get to watch 3 Nigerian players in action at the same time against each other? Snapchat derby? Sign me up all day, every day. There's almost no match that I love watching like a match where Nigerian players get to face each other. When those players now happen to be Alexi Wobi, Calvin Bassey versus Olaino, sign me up all day, every day. And what an interesting game it was. I knew it was not going to be easy for Forest. I was expecting a draw, but man, Fulham put in a good performance in that game. And of course, when we can top it off by our boy Calvin Bassey scoring the winner, what more can we ask for? Good header, good game, good performance by all 3 Nigerian players. Even in defeat, Olaino still had a good game. Even Iwobi had a good game despite not scoring a goal or getting an assist in that match. Fantastic game to watch. If you did not watch that game, you missed out. That was a beautiful performance. Nice display of football, and of course, the shenanigans continued on social media, Snapchat after the game. Fantastic one. I'm happy to see our boys play like that. Happy to see our boys play like that. Shout out to those 3 players, man. In it, boys. Snapchat derby, fantastic one. I also want to highlight Rafi Udrosimi. Shout out to Rafi Udrosimi. Happy to see him back on the score sheet after a terrible injury, double ACL rupture. Obviously, he was tipped with a move in the summer. He failed his medical because he was injured. Duh, he failed the medical. And back in the Victoria Prison side, scoring his first goal since September 2023. Not because he's bad, because he was injured. But scoring his first goal since September 2023. I was happy to see him back on the score sheet. And he only didn't score, he scored 2 goals. Fantastic one. And long may it continue. If he keeps on performing like this, and he can show that he's back to full health, full fitness, I'm sure that some of these teams that were interested in him before might come back for him in the future. Maybe not this summer, they might think it's too short, but who knows? Who knows? If he has a good agent himself, maybe in the summer somebody can still come for him. But I just want him to continue scoring to end the season. He plays for a good club in the Czech Republic, Victoria Prison, and he's a good player. I've highlighted him in the past on our pages. He's a good player, and I'm happy for him, and I wish him all the very best. It's never easy to come back from an injury, not to talk about an ACL injury, not to talk about the double ACL rupture arm or his leg almost scattered, and for him to come back and be playing and be scoring. Kudos to him. I wish him all the best. I wish him long. I don't want to say long life because he did not almost die, But I wish him good health for an extended period of time. But yes, I was happy to see that. I see that my co-host has made himself available. So let me bring him on to join the conversation. Welcome to
Oh,
Live.
yeah, thank you for having me. I've been enjoying the conversation. And
Yes.
I wanted to come on earlier, but when we were discussing one vital topic, I don't want to be a prophet of doom like you predicted. So I don't want to come and well, let me just I just want to wait and if you ask
Okay.
me, I will talk.
Yeah, I'll don't worry, I'll ask you. Let me just quickly finish this rundown. Then I'll ask you. I think the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, let me see. I already spoke about Gift Urban. Yes, the last person that I wanted to talk about, Starboy. Victor James Osimhen. I don't know if you guys watched that game. I did. Kaika Rizespor against Galatasaray. Two good headers for Victor Osimhen. Good performance by Babaji Akintola as well. I must give him that kind of credit. But Osimhen stood out, worked hard that game, fought back to get his team that victory. I was already insulting Galatasaray because those ones, if you are a betting man, both teams to score, stamp it. Almost every single Galatasaray match, they must concede. They must concede. And I was already like, if they draw this game, Mourinho is going to come for them again. Mourinho go talk another thing because apparently they are always cheating for Galatasaray. I mean, the penalty that they scored in their previous match. But I was happy for Victor Osimhen. Somebody left in the comments that Osimhen has met my target for the season. No, he has not. I said Osimhen should score 20 by January and 30 by the end of the season. He's still far from that, but he's having a good season. Nobody can take that away from him. I'm not going to talk about the fact that like maybe 30% of the goals have been penalties, but he has been having a good season nevertheless. 24 goal contributions in 24 games is good, but to me, it's not great. I'll just be honest with you guys. You guys always think that I'm harsh on Osimhen. I'm not harsh, but if you tell me that you're one of, if you look on Instagram, I'm always commenting best striker in the world, best striker in the world. If I think I'm the best striker in the world, 24 goal contributions in 24 games in Turkey doesn't excite me. Onuachu did that. And you people don't think Onuachu is the best striker in the world. So I compare Osimhen to the likes of Kylian Mbappe. I compare Osimhen to the likes of Erling Haaland. I compare Osimhen to the likes of Harry Kane. I compare Osimhen to the likes of who else is there? The top players in the world. So those stats don't excite me. Is it good? Yes, he's doing well. I cannot say he's not doing well. But are those numbers that I'm saying? Oh, it means that yeah having an exceptional season. Not really. Onuachu did it. Nwakeme did it. Erin Dzeko at 30 something is doing it. you know. But nevertheless, I was happy to see him score two goals. Score two from open play. No Osimhen, no Galatasaray. We saw how they performed poorly in the Europa League when Osimhen missed out with suspension.
Mhm.
I hope that he can end the season on a high. I was talking to somebody today while we're watching the Champions League games, and we're talking about Osimhen, a professional footballer, a Nigerian footballer, and we're literally just like, see, na condition wey carry Osimhen go Turkey. Let the season just end. Let him leave to where we can actually rate him. He should join Chelsea. Chelsea need a striker, or even if he's not joining Chelsea, he should join a team that has high expectations, high demands.
Mhm.
Let us see Osimhen under pressure. A team that is expected to win. Because again, if we remember when Osimhen had his best season ever at Napoli, Napoli were not expected to win.
Mhm.
Napoli came out of the blues under Spalletti and they just excelled. But when you join, nobody should tell him to join Man U. That one. But when you join a team like Chelsea that has high expectations, or you join a team like Arsenal that is fighting hard to finish second every year, those kind of teams, high expectations, that's when we see the best out of players. And I really want to see Osimhen play at that level and see how we can step up, step up, step up. You know? So yeah, that's what I would say. Let me just quickly read some comments and then I'll come to you. Bismillah. And while I'm going through the comments, guys, please, if you've not liked the video, do me a favor and like it. We've had over 100 people consistently watching the live stream, and only 30 something have liked it, guys. Please Liking costs absolutely no money. It's completely free. I guarantee you. If you like it, no dollar leaves your bank account, no naira either. So please like the video, share with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and please, that's a way that you can support. If you want to leave a super chat, would appreciate it. Feel free. If you want to subscribe on Instagram, please subscribe. It costs less than a cup of coffee if you're in the US. And yeah, those are ways that you can support. But if you don't want to spend money, if you don't feel like I deserve your money, please just like the video, subscribe to the channel, share with your friends, and I'll really appreciate it. Shout out to Kene. Kene that just left two comments. Kene is one of our members on Eagles Tracker. We appreciate you. We appreciate every member supporting the channel with their hard-earned money. I really do appreciate it. Okay, Daniel Famagun says if Onuachu likes, he should score 20 goals. I just not enjoy seeing him play. Fair. Not everybody's cup of tea. It's the same way some people hate Mourinho's style of play. It does not mean that he's not a good coach. So I understand that not everybody likes every style of play, every kind of player. Victor Balogun says Kelechi, my favorite Nigerian player. When I started watching football, he was running in Leicester FA Cup runs. I thank him for his service, but this time is up. Victor, how old are you? If you started watching football when Kelechi was in Leicester, that means you must be a Gen Z, Gen Z. But shout out to you. Or maybe you're old and you just started watching football recently. But it's interesting to say that you were watching football for the first time. Kelechi was in Leicester. You are new to this game. Oh. But shout out to you, man. Thank you for your comments. Logistic Jeff says he needs to retire and go into coaching. Haba, coaching. Intel he say he won't coach. It's funny because I feel like to be a coach, you need even more discipline than to be a player. Players' discipline is in terms of things like diets, things like, but coaches are thinking about football 24/7. As a player, you can go home and disconnect from football. You can go home and just go and be talking to your babe, spend time with your family, just relax. Players are going to concert every other weekend, enjoying themselves. But as a coach, you're going home, you're thinking about the next match. You have to go and watch tape of the old matches. You have to analyze your opponents, you and your coaching staff. Mourinho, where they sleep for office for how many this thing. Guardiola, seeing wife just broke up with time because now only football day yet. As a coach, it's difficult. So I want to say something.
Yeah, I just want to say that I don't think he's going to coaching. I think he's already going his new career.
What's his new career?
I saw him selling clothes in Super Eagles cap. Maybe what he's going to after. So I don't think he.
Silaya, please don't kill me, man. Don't kill me. Samuel says from double ACL tears to double goal scoring comeback, Joe Simi is on the road to reclaiming his best form. Hopefully, he will feel his true potential. I really do hope that he can. I really do hope that he can. Because he's a good player that was in the right trajectory before those injuries happened. Oladipupo says IoT, as much as Kelechi's situation is sad, is good for the sanity of the fans. It's now an obvious thing that he's no longer for Super Eagles, so they don't have to force him on us again. Samuel says Kelechi is simply going through a rough patch. Most players experience it. He will regain his form in no time. A rough patch is maybe 5 matches. A long rough patch is maybe 10 matches. By the time you're almost going 2 seasons like this, it's not a rough patch again. A 2 seasons is not a rough patch. That's not a patch. That one are the full cloth, no be patch. So I would have to disagree with you on that one. Samuel also says Matisse Abline is non-stop scorer and assist provider this season. He has some help. Simon is just having an outstanding campaign. He is not Nant's assist leader because Simon is Nant's assist leader. You say he's Nant's top scorer. Yes, he is, but put it into perspective. He's their top scorer with 7 goals. Simon is second with 5 goals. Simon also has 7 assists. So it's not like Abline is having a fantastic season. He's not. It's not. He's having nothing close to a fantastic season. So when I say he needs some help, I don't consider that to be help. It's like saying, "Oh, Kopama has all the help he needs at Chelsea because Jackson has scored a number of goals." Nah, Simon needs help. I disagree with that comment. Simon needs help. Um, Walter says Smithlai Cruzman. Okay. Logistic Jeff says Osimhen cannot do it alone. He's doing really good for the level Galatasaray is at now. I disagree with you. I'm not a fan of making excuses for top players. When Onuachu did it at Trabzonspor, were his players better than this? When Nwakeme was doing it at Trabzonspor, were his teammates better than this? Osimhen plays for clearly by far the best team in Turkey, with the best players, with the most money in Turkey. Let's stop making excuses for top players. Top players would have to be held to high standards. Cole Palmer is not playing with a bunch of average players around him? Is anybody cutting him some slack? Is he not still performing at a very high level? Let's stop making excuses for top players. I disagree with this. Kenneth says, how far IoT? Been a minute. Thank you, Kenneth. Member of the channel, so I prioritize your comments. Thank you for joining. Um, let me see. Walter says Osimhen did that even last season. Third top scorer in Italy last season, even with the top if the club's performed. Then the season before, Osimhen's workers are beg. Even who wants me to get into Osimhen's matter, last season was not a great season for Osimhen. Last season was not close to a world class season for Osimhen. Let's be realistic now. It was not close to a world class season. Osimhen is only about to now have, because he will surely score one or two more goals, of course, minimum this season. Osimhen is only about to hit his second season where he scores more than 20 goals in a season once he crosses it this season. Last season was not close to world class. Nobody is saying Osimhen is not a world class striker. I still said earlier that he's the best striker in the world, but he's not living up to it. Let's not lie to ourselves. If Haaland joins Galatasaray tomorrow, and you won't be expect like you won't cut him this kind of slack. And I said I hold Osimhen in that kind of high regard. When I look at Osimhen, I look at players like Ellen Haaland. I look at players like Mohamed Salah. I look at players like Kylian Mbappe. I look at players like Ademola Lookman. I hold him to that kind of standard. So I expect him to be surpassing those kind of players. So not because of 19 goals in Galatasaray that I'm going to be shouting for Osimhen. When even, like I said, 7 of those 19 are penalties. So it's not that exciting. Um, okay. Okay, let me see. Someone says he's already again. Logic says Jeff making further excuses. Already under pressure on Galatasaray, expectations are high. Which kind of pressure is under in Galatasaray? Let's be honest. Let's be realistic. What is the pressure in Galatasaray? Playing for the best team in Galatasaray in Turkey. What's the pressure? What's the pressure? If he does not score for 5 games, anybody really talk about it? Which pressure? Go and play in Chelsea. Don't score for 2 matches and see if the whole media is not on your head. There's no pressure. Let's be realistic here. I know that we love Osimhen, but let's stop making excuses for top players. To whom much is given, much is expected. If you are making that kind of money, you are nominated for top awards. You are heralded as one of the best in the world. We have high expectations now. We have high expectations. Let's not make excuses for top players. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Emeka said Victor can't even be Gen Z. The Victor that I said just started watching football on a lister. He said even I am Gen Z and I watched him in the 17 World Cup. Okay, but I say Victor Balogun says I will admit I was a basketball fan before and I just started watching football recently. Okay, welcome to the good life. Welcome to the good life. Um, okay, Joe Picard said read my comments, Joe. Osimhen is the best striker in the world. Who dash him? LOL. Okay. Um, okay. This Joppy Kayode is an Osimhen hitter. He says 7 penalties in 19. He's learning from Ronaldo. Olusegun Damola says Osimhen cannot play in Premier League. I mean, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think he has all the tools. Let him just get there. Okay, Smilai, let me quickly go to you so that we can get into Super Eagles talk because this we don't have time today. Like I have to leave in the next 20 minutes, guys. Apologies for today's shortness, but I have something that I have to attend to. So Bismillah, let me just ask you this whole Osimhen matter. Where do you stand on it? Because I've been talking. Where do you stand on it? Do you think he's having a great season, or do you think more should be expected? Because he's a top player. What do you say?
For me, the class is there. That is one thing I can say about Victor Osimhen. The class is there, but what we should know is that he's not playing to his best ability. I can tell you, it can be because maybe probably he's playing against lesser opposition. In Turkey, but I just think that 7 goals. Out of the 18 goals or so, 7 penalties. I just think that it can actually do better. Go and check, the chances with Osimhen missed to, in Turkey. So it's not just about the goals; it's also about the miss too. For example, now 2 seasons ago, you can put your money on Victor Osimhen. When he's one on the goalkeeper, or he's gonna fire under Luciano Spalletti as a coach of Napoli. But for me, I just think that maybe you need a different challenge. And also, too, in all honesty, Galatasaray players are rubbish. I don't want to say that, but they are just the Turkish league is just overhyped. I'm disappointed that Mourinho is there. Also cause just think that it's overhyped. I think that's why most Turkey national team they pick their players outside their league. For me, I don't rate the Turkish league.
Okay, let me ask you, um, what did you think of that Fulham versus Forest match and the Nigerian players' performance in that game?
In all honesty, I think that was one of the worst Ola game I've seen. Because I think he's he's up against Alex Iwobi, and I can count how many legovers Iwobi was trying to do to Ola, and Iwobi doesn't do that, to even other right backs. I was like,
But you know that when you're playing against your boy now, you for don't they chat
yeah,
him up before the
yeah.
game, say, "Oh my god, I go finish it today." Yeah, you are gingered.
And the issue is that I think that Kevin Bassey goal. I think Ola thought maybe they are defending it together because yes, he thought maybe they are defending that ball together. Because he didn't even challenge Kevin Bassey. He didn't challenge it properly. It was like maybe they were just in super good together. Before Kevin Bassey was just staring away, celebrating that goal. For me, I just think that Ola was slightly on the receiving end, of the Ili boys. I call them the tripods and the super eagles. So actually was the receiving end, and I think that Alex Obi was just trying to do everything I could. Do you remember that during that game he was trying to chat with Olaina. When
Yeah,
Olaina was when he was doing leg over, and Olaina was like, nah, it was just trying to make faces. For me, I just think that Olaina will bounce back. I just think that Alex will be really had a very good game, and Fulham deserve to win. As
yeah,
I said
Fulham.
that for London Forest, maybe their honeymoon is over.
I mean, I won't say that's quite yet, but let's see how it goes. Let's see how it goes.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
finally, Gift Orban, your boy, 3 goals in his last 4 games, 3 in 6 in total for Hoffenheim. How do you feel about that?
Yes, it's good that he's getting back into his form. See that he's getting see strikers need goals. For if you're having a very good game and you're not scoring goals, forget that. You get judged based on the numbers. So and I think if Urban is scoring that goals now. So and his goals are taking off him up to the relegation zone too. So but it's just sad that he's getting to the team. Akpoguma is on the bench, So I'm happy for Gibbs Urban. I'm happy. And see, IoT, I trust Gift Over.
Hmm.
It's just that he just need to calm down slightly and do the needful. For me, I think Gift Urban, I'm happy for him, and I hope that he can actually will continue like this. And if he can go to precision with Offenham, I think that he's going to be on fire next season.
Hmm, hmm. Shout out to Gift Orban. Hopefully, he can continue. If Hoffenheim should mistakenly relegate, will you say he should stay?
I don't think he will.
Hmm. He
He's
just
go, he's
signed
go,
five. He just signed 5-year contract though.
he's go cause another trouble again. There, he will stay. So
Okay.
yeah.
Um. Okay. Let's move on to Super Eagles
Let's also
talk.
talk about these boys. Sorry, Rafiu Durosimi.
Okay. Great.
And big shout out to him because I know when Boniface was saying his story, about his injury days, when he was injured, and I just this Durosimi, it was here we go to Stuttgart, and no, was it to Frankfurt?
Yeah, for Andrew Frankfurt. Yeah.
Oh, there to Frankfurt, yeah. It was like, here we go. You know, Suddenly we just hear that he has failed the medical. And they said they went to go and do it again. He failed the medical. So there was a time that he was about to join Wolves too. It was this injury problem. There's one thing I like about him. This guy is a good player. I don't know, maybe Amo is watching this live. Immediately I sent a message to Amo, say, I'm watching the Rosimi now. I think it was Europa League last season, last week, Thursday or so. He was bowling really well for Victoria Pleasant. I was so impressed with him. He's a guy that I like the way he plays. So I just think that if he continues like this, I think he's going to move in the summer. Very, very good player. Very, very good player. And I wish him the very best of luck. You also said a lot of things about him too, prior to before actually got injured. He's a guy that we should be really proud of. He's a different type of striker to the ones we have now. So I think that if he continue to perform well, he will get his chance with Super Eagles. Rather than later, yeah, he'll still get his chance very soon.
Okay. Okay. Just because of time, we'll jump quickly to the Super Eagles talk. Of course, we are still waiting for the list to come out sometime early next month, or maybe later this month, depending on how NFF. We can never really tell with their timeline. But we've heard some reports, we've heard some rumors And three players that we've now heard that are reportedly on this list. One, Paul Onwachu apparently is being recalled. That's what we're hearing. At least they are saying he's on the provisional list. Joe Aribo, his Southampton teammate, is also apparently on this provisional list that might be recalled, as well as Chrysanthos Uche. You know, a lot of people have been talking about it and saying that he has been given his first call up, or he is about to be given his first call up to the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I'll save Uche for last. Onward on Aribo, we've seen Aribo have a good season for Southampton, despite Southampton's struggles. You know, he has been a bright spot in their midfield, having good games even when they lose, and contributing his fair share of goals and assists as well. Onwachu started the season slowly, eventually worked his way into the side. Even after he joined, he became a starter. Took a little bit of time to really acclimatize and adapt, but now we've seen him in his last 5 games. I think he has 3 goal contributions. Do you think it's a good decision for the coach to bring Onwacho and Aribo back into the Super Eagles settle?
For me, ROT, if you remember very well, when we were trying to talk about Eric Chile's tactics, what he would bring to the national team, you watched this game and he made one comment that day that if you want to pick a midfielder that can really work for this guy, it's going to be Joe Aribo. You mentioned that. But you said that
Yeah.
people will not want to hear, this thing. I can tell you that Joe Aribo have been called up to the national team. I can tell you that one. That Joe
Mm,
Aribo have been called up to the national team. Maybe it's going to make the round 25. I don't know. I can tell you that Joe Aribo have been called up to the national team. So, and for me, I think he's having his best. Last season he didn't do well, but now this is getting back to his best. He understands the team better you
mm,
know, for me. So I think, he can play a role. And don't forget that he's also this left footed midfielder that we also have. He can play in a diamond midfield formation that Eric
mm,
Chile, likes to actually what operate. So for me, I think inclusion of Aribo is a very welcome development, for the national team. So, how many midfielders are actually having a better season than him? Will you say NDD is having a better season than him now? I don't think so. I think he's playing better than Wilfred did it now. If I'm to say because he just came back from the treatment table and Aribo have been balling. Though that's part that they are not doing well, but two of them are in relegation zone too. So
mm,
there's no really difference. So for me, I think he deserves to be called up. And secondly, for Polonjaju, I know that if you want a plan B, you must get a striker like Polonjaju. That is one
mm,
thing. For example, now, if maybe probably you are chasing a game and push now comes to shovel, when you have to, try and load the bus, and see who can actually get at the end of a cross. It's good to have Polonjaju, in that mix because if you have a very good cross of the ball, you can easily locate Polonjaju and get that decisive word goal. And if you remember, Nigeria was Benin Republic in Cotonou in the 9 minutes. Your friend Awala, played in that game. It was Paul Noachu that scored towards the end of the game. With a
mm,
beautiful header. So you never know. These guys are very important, and Paul Noachu is getting his mojo back.
mm,
And also play well in the Premier League. So for me, I think that I don't know of Paulo Noachu, but I think Aribo for
mm,
future actually would be recalled to the
mm.
national team.
I think,
If or two, it's a good development.
for me, I'll just say quickly, I think, with Aribo, we need that archetype of midfielder in the team. We have a lot of midfielders that can play behind the ball, but we don't have that many players that can actually play with the ball, move forward, advance possession, depth,
Mm,
touches, just wiggle around players. Aribo is, with all due respect to him, Aribo is like a very, 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 people should not get carried away because of the name I'm about to mention. I'm only using a
mm,
popular player that people would know. But Aribo is like a very, 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 very lower version of Paul Pogba. Maybe
mm-hmm.
without Pogba's shooting ability. But in
Mm-hmm.
terms of just how we can dance past certain players, how we can drive possession forward, I think Aribo is that archetype of player. Now he has the talent, but obviously talent is not enough. You have to show that consistency. You have to work hard to really rise to the level. I'm not. He's nothing close to the player that Paul Pogba was. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about some of the skill sets and some of the abilities that I think he has, and I'm happy to see him return. If he can show what he's been shown for Southampton for Nigeria, I think he can
Mm-hmm.
provide good quality in our midfield and also good competition for the players that have been there that might be feeling fairly comfortable since he was out of the team. On what I also just think that it's important to have a different option, a different kind of player. It's one thing to just have a player like Victor Osimhen, to have a player like the Boniface, but you want to have that physical presence, that player that can hold up, play a little bit, that can win first headers and knock it down for somebody else. When you are chasing a game, things like that, you want to bring in some other type of player. Look at Chelsea, for example, now. They're chasing a game, they bring on Nkunku. What's that one coming to do? So you want to have a different kind of player that can provide you with a different option when things are going on. And I think that's what Onuachu provides for us. Now, can he do as he's doing at Southampton? Again, we need to play to his strength. Even at Southampton, when he initially started, we're not playing to his strength. It looked like he wasn't so good. But when you play to his strength, he does well. We saw it in Turkey. We saw it in Belgium. When a team plays to Polonuachu's strength, he delivers. Is he the best striker in the world? No. But is he a good striker? Yes. Um, let's now move on quickly. A few minutes to talk about Christantos Uche. My comments on him and his inclusion in the national team, I don't think anybody that is watching this program has probably heard what I have to say about him before. That's why somebody is saying, oh, I'm not a fan of him. No, I like him. But my argument has always been, are you calling him up as a striker or are you calling him up as a midfielder? As a striker, is he better than Osimhen? Is he better than Boniface? Is he better than Onuachu? Is he better than Awoni? Is he better than all those guys? I don't think so. As a midfielder, okay, what's the evidence to show that he's better than anybody that you don't want to call? He's not playing as a midfielder. That has always been my argument. But I am not the coach. The coach sees what he sees. The coach knows the kind of players that he needs. And we are hearing that the coach has decided to include him, at least in the provisional list of players for this camp. So, Smith, like, I'll throw it to you. Do you think he deserves to be part of the players that play for the Super Eagles in this camp? And if yes or no, what do you think he can bring to the national team? Very quickly, let's go.
For me, I think the 4-4-2 formation that is play that they are playing in Getafe, I think it's just like a little bit like a disguise. I think Uche is more of like a box to box midfielder, because you tend to see him trying to do the dirty job in the opposition box and on his own box too. For example, now I saw Uche trying to tackle as a left back, in one of the games. I saw him in the box trying to win a defensive header. So it's just like a guy that can come and do the job. We don't know exactly the position that is going to actually play. So for me, I think it might be well placed to serve like a destroyer, a just like I don't know, maybe I should look at him like so. I don't know which player I can actually what to use. People are saying that okay, yeah, Toure. I don't think he said yeah, Toure, in my own opinion. So, but I just think someone that can come like a box to box. But to be your number nine, I don't think so.
Mm.
I think it's a guy that can be box to box. He can help you in the opponent area. He can do the job in both boxes. So, and if you want someone to do a dirty job like that, similar to a job that Goran Pandev
Mm.
used to do for Jose Mourinho, those type of dirty job. We don't know what Pandev is doing, but he's doing that job, for Jose Mourinho. So I just think that maybe he wants him to do that
Mm.
way. I don't know. But for me, I think that if a player is in form like this, let's bring him and see what he can actually do. For me, I think it's better than Jide Fatokun, in my own opinion. I think it's better than Zahad Fahad of Economic Warriors. You know, I think it's also, also better than I think Isaac Xavier too. Of Rangers. So I think if you want to consider those ones ahead of him, I think he deserves to be there.
No, I mean, I would agree with you. If those are the people that we're comparing him to, of course, he deserves to be there with all due respect to them. And I will also not take away the fact that he has been putting in good performance after good performance after good performance.
Mm,
Again, for me, I guess I just feel like I've not seen enough evidence in midfield. And don't get me wrong, the time he has played the midfield, he has done well. You can obviously see that he has qualities that will make him do well in midfield. But I don't
mm,
know. For me, it's just hard to justify based on, oh, he played there growing up, or oh, he played there in semi-pro. But I honestly really, really do wish him all the best. I like him as a guy. Every time I've communicated with him, it has always been good conversation, good chat. He's a humble guy. He knows that he's just starting. I think that he will for sure grow into a proper player. You know, I just implore all of you guys, everybody, Nigerian fans, The same way we criticize certain players after 3, 4 matches and maybe they did not score goal or did not have good games. Let us not give up on him quickly if things don't go that well. I'm not saying they won't, but if for whatever reason he doesn't have the best performance, let us not start saying, oh, we made a mistake by giving him a chance. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Give people time because some people might hit the ground running instantly and some people might not. And even those that hit the ground running instantly, things can still tail off for them. And those that start slow might still become very good over time. Um, but I think that if he gets it, I cannot criticize the call up too much because the reality of it is that he has had a good season so far. He has had a good season so far.
Mm.
Nobody can take that away from him. And I really, really do wish him all the best, man. Christantos Uche, let us wait for the official list before we deep dive into it. But for now, so far so good. Let's see what happens.
I want just to add maybe probably a question to you too. You covered Oluwawoyin, is it
Ibrahim
Olawoyin?
Olawoyin.
Ibrahim Olawoyin that played in Turkey, and people clamor for his inclusion too. Not in the last World Cup qualifier. I think things have tailored slightly down now. I want to ask you this question: do you think that when he was called up, he justified that inclusion?
Like you mean this
That do you think that same Olawoyin? Do you think that if you had to pick between Uche and the guy, maybe the guy when he was playing that well, no, not now when he was playing that well. If you had to pick between him and the current Uche, who will you
if
take?
so if I'm looking at the level of competition, Uche is playing a tougher
Mm-hmm,
competition every week. But if I'm looking at how they
mm-hmm,
were actually performing, Olawoni was scoring goals
mm-hmm,
and was creating assists, man. And people always felt like we needed that creative spark, that inventiveness in the middle of the park. Uche is not coming to be creating for us. Maybe he can move the ball
mm-hmm,
forward a little bit, maybe he can break things up. Uche is not coming to be creating. And people really felt like he needed that creative spark. And even at that time,
mm-hmm,
I don't think anybody ever heard me come and say, "Oh, call Olawoni up. Oh, he should be in the Super Eagles." Even though he was doing well, I wasn't fighting or clamoring for him. But to be honest, based on performances then and the gap that needed to be filled, I completely understand. I'll probably have
mm-hmm,
said, "Oh, Olawoni definitely, wasn't a terrible choice." For me, I don't necessarily see, in my own opinion, I don't necessarily see the gap that Uche is coming to plug right now. I think he's a good player that maybe the coach
mm-hmm,
sees some qualities that he thinks, okay, it's a new style. I might as well give him a chance. But I'm never going to come and tell you Olawoni should start ahead of Onyeka. I'm not going to come and tell you Olawoni should start ahead of Ndidi. I'm not going to, not Olawoni, sorry, Uche. I can't tell you Uche should start ahead of Onyeka. I can't argue that Uche should start ahead of Ndidi. I can't even argue that Uche should start ahead of Onyedika. Yusuf, maybe. But those other three players, I will not argue that Uche should start ahead of them, despite the good season that he's having, because those players have shown it for a period of time, have shown it in that position consistently, not moving about and playing different versatile roles. So I still trust those players far more than I trust Uche. But again, it does not mean that Uche is not good. It does not mean that he cannot have good performances. It's just based on how I see things and the games that I've been watching. Okay, let's wrap up quickly. I know that today's episode is really short. My apologies, guys. I just absolutely have to run. But there's something that developed after Atalanta's game today. They lost the game. Of course, Ademola Lookman scored a goal, and then he missed a penalty. And his head coach, Gasperini, had some choice words for him. So Gasperini said, Ademola Lookman is one of the worst penalty takers I have ever seen. He wanted to take the penalty after scoring a goal. He took the ball despite Retegi and Dekatele available to take it. I didn't like what Lukman did. Those comments, man, crazy. But at the same time, I always like to be balanced in my conversations. I saw my good friend OJB saying, "Oh, I don't think his coach should say that. Oh, maybe this might be a reason for him to start looking for ways out." He was already looking for ways out regardless. So that's not a conversation. But I don't think that it is out of place for the coach to be upset. Now, do you want the coach to do it in public? No. It's always it's always better to protect your players in public and berate them in private. But then the coach can be very frustrated. If you're not the first choice penalty taker, you've scored one goal. Thank you for coming off the bench and scoring that goal. While we get the penalty, if Atalanta had scored that penalty, the game would have been so different. They would have been able to pile on more pressure. They might not have come back, but maybe, who knows? And then you bounce the first two penalty takers to take it, and then you now miss. Nigerians did not give that grace to Mano Dennis when he missed penalty against Portugal. And that was a friendly. It was not a match that really mattered. So for me, I think we
Mhm.
need to be balanced in our conversation. Of course, the coach will be upset. Of course, the coach has reason to be annoyed. I mean, going as far as saying, "Oh, is one of the worst you've ever seen." I mean, coach, now that's a bit much. That's harsh, But I mean, he has learned a lesson. He won't do it again, And I hope that it doesn't cause an unnecessary stir. But I don't think it is crazy for the coach to be upset. Smithy, what do you think?
For me, I just think that when you're a manager, you should be able to manage your anger, manage your emotions too. It's part of it too, and also manage people very well. Uh, I even as crazy as Guardiola, I cannot come out and say things like this. As crazy as Maresca, when Sanchez was making those
It was
terrible
still
errors,
defending him.
it was still defending him. The same Butegu they're talking about. He means the one that missed against Arsenal. Was it not the one that missed that penalty against Arsenal? That horrible penalty against Arsenal. If you are to judge, that penalty cost them the top place because they have won that game. So you must be balanced. That's why sometimes, in all honesty, there is this inner bias from these people. And I know why you say it's just that all these people is hidden somewhere, but it's for you to go and find it and bring
Hmm.
it out. That is it. All of them, they are not. They call him the master, the teacher, the this thing. Oh, there's this inner bias that in them. That anger just brought it out. Now, I'm pretty sure that he will be regretting what he
Hmm.
said because he's still competing for the top four in Serie A. The season is not over yet. I don't know. Maybe he's still in Coppa Italia. I'm not sure. Maybe he's still in Coppa Italia, but season is not over, and you are trying to throw your best player in the bus. You know, you are trying to disgrace your best player. For me, this might be the beginning of the end of that beautiful, wonderful another team. I've ever seen Guardiola come out and disgrace what he called Kevin De Bruyne, despite performing, horrible. Or this guy from Chelsea, former Chelsea guy in the midfield,
Hmm.
Kovacic, because Kovacic and Godigan, he will not come and throw them under the bus. As a manager, for me, Gasparini, I respect him so much, but he got this one wrong. He got it wrong.
Hmm.
There is some things you try to talk inally. Now you are trying to give those players opinions. That is it. You're trying to give those players opinion. Gasparini just danced naked
Hmm.
today, in
Hmm.
my own opinion. It reminds me of the is it Turkish Division 2 coach that was fighting the touchline that one guy should not take penalty. It reminds me
Hmm.
of that. For me, I think I did not respect him of what she was said today. And in my own opinion, I just think that for me, it's called an
Hmm.
ongo.
I mean, I would say he definitely should not have spoken like that. Not especially about your best player, a player that has been saving you, But I just feel like I'm not going to draw any conclusions about bias. I think maybe it was just the heat of the moment. He's lost an important game, losing to a team that people expect him to beat. Things like that. I just feel like his emotions got the best of him. Because somebody like an Antonio Conte will say something like this. It depends on the person. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
going to, people are going as far as saying, oh, he doesn't like Lookman, that's why he benches him, things like that. I disagree. I don't see how a coach will not like his best player unless something serious has happened behind the scenes. I just think his emotions got the
Mm.
best of him.
But who was that best player
No, no,
today?
no. What I'm
Who was
saying
the best
is,
player?
I just in general, I don't see how the coach will not like Lookman unless something serious has happened that we are not aware of. I don't see how the coach will not like
Mm-hmm.
him. He's like, even if you don't think he's such a good person, he's by far your best player. You must like him. So I just think it was just the heat of the moment. He's annoyed after the game. They just lost against Club Brugge that you would have expected him to beat, type of thing. So I think it was just heat of the moment. And he'll probably go home and be like, yeah, I shouldn't have said this thing, and he'll maybe apologize to Lukman. But I think Nigerians were very quick to draw sort of conclusions when things happen against our players that we don't like. When they happen against the players that we criticize, nobody comes and says all these things. But if somebody's saying about Osimhen, about Lukman, oh, they hate. So I won't go that far. Wrong, terrible choice of words by Gasperini, but I'm not going to draw any conclusions that we don't actually know. Okay. We're going to have to call it a day today, guys. My apologies again for the short time. I just have to jump. But let me just quickly take some comments before we go. Um, Let me see.
Did you call us
We don't
something?
have time. I'm sorry. We don't have time. Um, okay. Digital currency says the truth is that any opportunity that they give Uche for Super Eagles, he'll be among the first team players from that very day. Uche is Super Eagles material.
Yeah,
I
I agree.
think there's no evidence to support this argument.
And the evidence for that was just
Yeah,
belief.
it's just belief. Logistics have said I don't
Yeah.
like agenda against Uche. Since when is stating facts an agenda? I've not said anything bad about him. I've only stated facts. Since when is stating facts an agenda? But yeah, I won't get into that. Um, Digital currency says Ayo is not Super Eagles coach, so his opinion doesn't matter. My opinion, in fact, does matter. If it didn't, you would not be here watching me. My opinion does not influence the Super Eagles. That is the more accurate statement. But my opinion does, in fact, matter because a lot of people care what I have to say. Thank you. Um, Logistics Jeff says, why won't you do it again? That's top player mentality. You step up to take the penalty. Again, you step up to take the penalty when you are supposed to or you're allowed to, not taking it from your teammates. We've criticized the likes of Jackson, the likes of Madueke, the likes of Dennis for doing things like this in the past. We are not the ones supposed to take it, don't drag it. And that's what Lukman did. I'm not saying he shouldn't step up for a penalty again. Of course he should. He should have that confidence in himself, but not taking it away from those that are supposed to take it in a crucial moment. That's what I meant.
Sorry, I want to ask you a question. Who will you take if you want to take a penalty now to win a $1 million or $10 million because you are a big man?
Among Nigerians,
If you want to choose,
always.
if you want to choose a taker between Polo Noashu, Victor Osimhen, and Lukman, who will
If
take?
those are
Who
my
will you
three
pick?
choices, I have to go with Lukman now. You'd not give me great options. Osimhen is not a great penalty taker. Onuachu is not a great penalty taker. Like, that one. I will go with Lukman now. He's still the best choice there. But if you add Salah, you add Palmer, you add those kind of players, Lukman, I'm sorry, my brother.
What about if I add Ekong?
William Tristekong.
Yeah.
I'll go with Lukman. I feel like Ekong. I feel
Ah.
like Ekong, yeah, 7 times out of 10, he'll play it down the middle.
Hmm.
Ekong does not place his penalties. He just blast it and hope that the keeper does not get it. I'll go with Lukman over Ekong. I know that Ekong is a super Eagles taker, but I'll probably go with Lukman. Maybe I'm only saying that because I've not seen him take a million penalties in training.
What about Iheanacho?
You know what? I'll go with Kelechi. I'll go with Kelechi. As long as he has been on the
Yeah.
field a little bit to warm up before the penalty, I'll go with Kelechi. Not that you just bring him to come and take penalty without warm up.
Ahead of Murphy.
I'll take Kelechi ahead of Murphy. I'll
Oh,
take Kelechi ahead of Murphy.
um,
Um,
me too.
okay. Okay. Let me see. Adegun says, "Ayati, please don't go. Make I run the errand for you." Unfortunately, guys, I sincerely apologize. I
Yeah.
genuinely, I wanted to do the show earlier, but I couldn't because Atalanta's game was on earlier, and I know that people want to watch the game. And I'm literally already late for the thing that I appointment that I have. I'm supposed to be there in the next 2 minutes. There's no way that I'm going to be there in the next 2 minutes. They're already texting me.
Yeah.
So my sincere
Yeah.
apologies, guys. But even with this short show, it's already like almost an hour and a half. So even our short show is still long. But I want to
Yeah.
appreciate everybody. Smith Lai, thank you very much from your vacation, taking the time to
Yeah.
come and talk to us. And guys, don't worry,
Yeah.
we'll keep on engaging you during the week. Lots of content to come. Interviews coming up. I have an interview with a sports lawyer, Pius Unduboku. Spoke with him, very educated man, doing great work has, the guy has is the lawyer for Remo Stars, is the lawyer for Beyond Limits, is the lawyer for Ata Aneke and his agency. He's the lawyer for Emmanuel Amunike. He has worked for Nwankwo Kanu, done great work. And I spoke with him. He discussed everything about the legalities of what clubs need to know, what players need to know, what agents need to know when they're transferring players, how these transfers happen from players going to Nigeria, to other countries. Spoke about some of the crazy cases that he has worked on. I'll tell you guys one of the things that he said. He said that one of the players that he was working for, the club gave the player a blank sheet of paper, told him to sign, and the player signed it.
Mm-mm.
Nothing was
Nothing was
there.
there.
A blank sheet of paper. The player signed it. Later down the line, the player now came to realize that what they told him was not what they added to the paper. But legally, now you signed the paper now, so there's nothing that can be said. So
Mm-mm.
crazy things that have happened in Nigerian football is all coming up in the interview with Pius Boku. Very, very insightful one. Even if you're just a fan, there's so much to learn. That will be on our channel this week. And then interview with Leke James after that. I'm interviewing Leon Balogun next week. So by the grace of God, that interview should come out soon, and
Oh,
so
cool.
much more. I thank you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please, before you go, make sure you like the video. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. And if there's any questions you have, leave your comments. I will still engage with you guys in the comments. Anything that you want us to discuss next time, leave the comments. I'll engage with you guys. If time permits, maybe we can even do a midweek show, maybe like on Thursday. We can come and talk more about anything that you guys want us to talk about, because I know today was short. But once again, I want to say thank you.
Ah,
I have to jump. My name is Ayoti.
yeah.
This has been the Naija FC podcast, and of course, my co-host, late but better late than never.
Yeah. Sweet light. Thank you
Thank you
guys for
very much,
joining.
guys. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.